My weight loss journey has been, I don't know, one where I've been dedicated to losing weight for the last 7 years and never really done anything.
Okay.
I've hundreds of miles outside, hundreds of miles on the Peloton, God knows how many miles in the swimming pool, the treadmill, on the working out on the tread, and it never did anything. So I think there's sort of three phrases that come true. One is, and it's always been true, and everybody knows it, which is you can't out-exercise a bad diet. Right?
Absolutely.
Everybody knows that, but everybody thinks they can.
Yeah.
I spent 6 years thinking I can. The second one, I wrote these down so that I didn't forget. Everything works.
It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the clip out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 240. This is Crystal OKeefe.
And this is Tom OKeefe. It's like marijuana if you're dyslexic.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't know. I've never done that. Awkward silence across the table, but I've never done that.
Okay. Why, that's very interesting, Tom.
I listened to Nancy Reagan, unlike some people. So, where were we at? Oh, yeah. So, you'd think you'd be the forgetful one.
Well,
so,
I'm feeling very targeted. I'm feeling very on the spot right now. It's illegal in a lot of places.
yeah, it's been days. No, it's So, you have a new job.
I do.
He said, changing the subject quickly.
I am officially a Met Pro coach.
And you just started taking on new clients.
I did.
So if you've been wondering if you should give it a shot, well, now you could actually end up with Coach Clip Out Crystal.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's so fun. I love it. I'm so excited. And then they're going to be starting the podcast soon. So I'm going to have 3 podcasts to record. Ooh. And I will be a coach. I'm so excited. This is like the perfect job for me.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I guess we should throw it in there. It's not really meant to be a commercial, but we might as well. We've gone this far. You can go to metpro.co/TCO to check out more information.
Yeah.
And maybe end up with Crystal. You can get to talk to her once a week.
Yeah. And if anybody out there has questions and you're hesitant just because you have questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'll go over everything with you. I've had some conversations with people and they just have a lot of questions. So
yeah.
It's
it works. I made it through the holidays without putting on 30 pounds.
Wasn't that exciting?
Unlike last Christmas.
Yeah, we did some damage last year.
Woo,
indeed.
I needed an intervention after last year.
Well, you got one.
I did,
it's called
I guess.
MetPro.
I guess I did. Yeah. But it worked. And I made it through the holidays without doing any severe damage. So
me too.
Angelo's always amazed when he's like, how do you put on weight in such a short amount of time? And I'm like, it is my superpower.
I know. He's like, really? You did that in 2 days?
It's been 2 days, Tom.
Like, that's why I always say, don't make it a dare, Angelo. Don't make it a dare.
He's like, are you just duct taping like small woodland creatures to your chest? I'm like, no, that's just how hairy I am. But thanks to MetPro, comes off really fast now, unlike before. So.
Yeah, that doesn't work for everybody though. So everybody's
lucky
different
in that regard.
You are.
So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we have a visit from John Mills, of course. We are going to chat about he puts together this like list every quarter of like where all the different competitors are in the connected fitness area from a social media perspective.
Gains and losses.
Exactly. So we're gonna touch on that in a bit.
I guess instead of saying gains and losses, I could say gains and echelon.
Oh, dang.
Bam.
We haven't even gotten to the first segment and you're already throwing down. Also, we have a visit from Dr. Jen, and she talks about structuring your 2022 goals. So if
that's a lot of goals to have. 2022.
That's the year, honey. Honey, that's the year.
It's the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also Angelo is going to visit with us, and we're going to talk about low glycemic index eating plans. This is a really important topic, and it comes into play at MetPro. So you want to, if anybody out there is curious, this is a great topic. Not to mention, we're going to talk about Strava. We're going to talk about all of the instructors have been in different places. There's been a ton of articles this week, resolutions, interesting playlists happening over on Spotify that they are mixing instructors. So I thought that was fascinating.
Okay.
And they're doing some new things with artist collaborations they don't typically do. Plus, we have a past guest update, and we're going to talk birthdays.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us. Should point out on Spotify, you can now rate podcasts. So if you've been listening to us on the Spotify, I know a lot of people have been gravitating to Spotify for podcasts lately. If you are one of them, you can now rate us over there. So if you'd be so kind, it probably has some sort of magical algorithm that lets them know that we're beloved. And
yeah, except for those people that hate my laugh. And to you, I say,
there you go. So yeah, and you can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com. Oh, wait, we have a new review. I forgot that part.
Yeah, read that review. I love hearing the reviews, the nice ones.
Yes. So this is from Rem 20007.
I wonder if they liked REM back in 2007.
But there's 3 zeros, so it would be they're gonna like REM in the year 20,007.
That seems unlikely.
I don't know. I think REM will really stand the test of time.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says the outlet. If you don't dare bring up the Peloton tread bike app to your family, if your friends lost, never had interest in your badges, if you're bursting to talk about what Peloton instructor is dating another, if you need to share your speculations about what Peloton might offer next, put this podcast on and indulge in talking back to Tom and Crystal.
Oh, I love it.
It'll be like group therapy, and the rest of your friends will stop avoiding your calls, and you might just pick up a life-changing fitness tip or inspiration. Two genuinely nice people, plus Crystal's infectious, can we still use that word? Giggle. We'll keep you coming back every week. They put a ton of work into this and impressive amount every week. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a really sweet review.
It was.
Thank you.
And where was that? Oh, shameless plugs. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group, sign up for the mailing list. You'll get all the links and articles and things like that, and a newsletter digest every week. I feel like I can start saying every week. I've been pretty consistent for a while.
You've been really consistent for a while, yeah.
And you can also finally, if listening to us isn't enough and you want to stare in my lipid pools of eyes, you can do that in HD at youtube.com/theclipout.
Can I just point out that we have the perfect dog position sitting here? Like, this dog is laying in the room and she's curled up in her perfect position.
Just in the corner of the room shot.
So,
there's our little puppy.
If you want to watch us on YouTube, you can watch the puppy too.
Now with dog. So there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Run, lift, and live with John Mills.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube from Run, Lift, and Live, it's John Mills. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
How's it going? Happy New Year.
Happy New
Merry
Year.
Christmas.
Love
all that stuff.
Yeah, I love all the energy you're bringing. You got that New Year energy.
I used to feel
Right,
bad
go.
because you have all this energy and then I'm over here being me. And then I was like, but now if I were to suddenly have energy, people would be like, he's just ripping off John Mills.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, that's why.
This is my way of making sure that no one thinks I'm stealing your thing.
That's nice.
No
That's so
Grandpa
thoughtful,
Shark
Tom.
shirts for me.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Does that mean I can't wear any hoodies and I can't bring a red cup to any of these things?
I will let you wear hoodies.
Okay.
You leave his cup alone.
But the cup is mine. But
Okay.
we shouldn't share a cup anyway with COVID.
Right.
Like,
that's not
Yeah,
cool.
you're right.
That's
That ain't
not
a good
cool.
idea.
I don't feel like I can say the hoodies are only me though.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
no monkeys hoodie. How about that?
No monkeys hoodies.
All right. Yeah, that would be like offensive if I came in here with the monkeys hoodie and like.
Unless
that would be-
you're doing another parody video,
Yes.
in which case it would be
Yeah.
incredibly
Up in
appropriate.
Fair use, yeah. He was like, "You're in no danger of me wearing a monkey's hoodie." Like,
Exactly. He's like, where do you even find that?
I go kind of search Google or something. I don't.
go to the old guy store. They got him there.
Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Google old guy store.
Old guy store.
Old guy store.
Yes. So, moving into Peloton stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So you do this, I guess, what, roughly quarterly?
Yeah.
It says right
Yeah,
here,
this time
quarterly.
I did it exactly quarterly. Like the last one was
Ooh.
October 5th, and now it's January 5th. It's like perfect timing.
Look
Look
at
at that.
you.
So you like to take a little peek at all the social media channels from the various connected fitness properties and kind of see who's gained, who's lost, who's echelon. So
Yeah, I mean, the intent is, I know some of these companies are public and other ones aren't. So it's tough. And then, so the ones that aren't, they're not required to publish their numbers. So then you don't really know how well they're doing in comparison to the public companies. So I use this unscientific mechanism to see who's making some moves in the connected fitness space. Right.
Woo.
Yeah.
What is happening to Beachbody?
yeah.
What's up with that? How come Beachbody went backwards? Like, I don't know what's happening with that.
Yeah.
SoulCycle goes backwards every quarter, so I wasn't.
Yeah, well, they go backwards in a lot of ways, right? So
I don't know. I wasn't really surprised about SoulCycle going backwards, but Beachbody did, and also I have Body Interactive on there, and they just came out.
I see that.
Late last year,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't know if Beachbody going backwards has to do with Body Interactive and folks kind of following them. I don't know if that's an effect.
I feel like that's unusual if it is because most people just add to another one. They don't like, oh, I'm following this account now, so I got to get rid of this other account. They just like add on another one because like it's not a big deal. Right. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. But
I wonder if the Beachbody account was like, because I know they like to sell things over there. I wonder if maybe they got a little too pushy and people were like, it's enough of that. I don't know.
Something like that, I think, is going on. I think 3,000 people to say, you know what, I don't want to follow you no more. It seems like a lot to me.
It does. I agree. It does seem like a lot. And also, I'm kind of fascinated that, first of all, good job, Tonal. Good job, Peloton, up 5%. I mean, 100,000 people is a lot of people. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially
what I loved about that is last quarter, they were up like 60K. And now they're up 100K.
But it's interesting because, I keep seeing all these news reports. Oh, Peloton, the searches are down, yada, yada, yada. Well, I mean, this is an interesting metric because this shows, people aren't as disinterested as you might think, based on this. I mean, I don't know what the true story is. And also, like, it's just interesting to see that they're up 5%. Because that's a big number when you have almost 2 million followers. 96,000 is a lot. But I love seeing these numbers. This is kind of crazy. Like, good job, Tonal, up 18%.
Their Peloton's quarterly bump, 96,000, is almost double Echelon's total followers.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is interesting. And sadly,
Echelon throws me.
It's so confusing. Up 2,000, and that's their 5% because their number's so low. And like Body just started and they have almost as many followers as Echelon. That's just fascinating.
Yeah. That's telling a story. I don't know the story, but it's telling some story. Like, Body just started and they're about to just like leapfrog Echelon and put them in last place. Like, I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, I like the Tonal narrative there. Like, I love it. 37,000 people in the quarter that started following Tonal. That's telling us something. To me, that's pretty impressive.
I agree.
iFit's pretty stable. Apple Fitness Plus is jumping as well. I know they're still kind of the middle of the pack, but I mean, they were up 19%. So
I mean, that's certainly
making
nothing
some noise.
to sneeze at. Yeah, that is definitely some good numbers there. And it's interesting because the percentage, it's you got to look at the percentage and the number, right? So when you look at Peloton up 5%, sounds a lot lower than Apple Fitness, but what I find interesting there is that Peloton is up 100,000 and Apple Fitness is only up 21,000. That's a lot for Apple, but that just shows Peloton is freaking huge with their numbers. Like they are killing everybody else on here.
Peloton's 5% bump versus Apple's 20% bump in terms of raw numbers was 5 times as many people to get to their 5%.
Exactly.
So in terms of raw data.
Yeah. This is always super interesting. So wow. And I love that you added hydro to this. So thank you for adding that. That's good.
Yeah. I should have added them before because I like to continue to maintain these metrics because there's no way to go back, right? So unless I post them. So we'll see what happens next quarter. But now I'm like, oh, I wish I would have added them back in October so we would have seen this disparity over the the holidays. But
oh, that's true. It's also interesting to see Nordic Track up honestly at all. Aren't they the ones that just laid off all those people?
Yeah. And I thought the same thing. I thought that they were probably gonna have some type of an impact, but they have been pretty kind of stable. I think they've got like name recognition, Nordic Track and iFit and that Nordic Track brand. So because of that, I think they just kind of
keep plugging,
maintain. And notice they're not up a whole lot. iFit was up. Their primary brand was up a little more, but I see it. That's why they don't tend to have the same issues as, like the Beachbody or the Soul Cycles. Like they have name recognition and you see their commercials all the time. And I think people, tend to kind of like many of their products. So they don't tend to have those types of issues.
It's interesting.
It is.
Well, thank you for doing that. We'll be interesting to see what it looks like 3 months from now.
Yep.
And
indeed.
Also, while you're here, we should talk about you found an interesting article about a new bike called Capti.
Is that how we're saying it? I really don't know.
Yeah, I've been saying it that way too, but I don't know how you actually pronounce it. But I know the company is Espresso, I think.
Espresso. Yeah, I've used an Espresso bike way back in the day at the gym. It was awful. Like awful.
Really?
So bad. I hated it so much. The
it's
idea
weird
is
you
cool.
love espresso.
The idea is cool because you're like riding this bike with everyone else and like it's interactive, so it should be fun. But the bike itself was so uncomfortable and so awkward and heavy. I hated it.
So it's
hated
good
everything about it.
It's good in theory, but not in practice, like communism or sex in a bathtub.
It's been some kind of bathroom, Tom. But anyway.
I said bathtub.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if these are the same guy, because I've seen Espresso, and this company is called Expresso with an X. I wonder if they're different companies. I'm not sure if it's the same.
Okay. Well, then I don't know. I don't know.
But they actually have multiple bikes too, so it could be the same. I don't know.
I don't know that this bike is bad. I just know the one I used like 15 years ago was bad, so I can't say this one's bad.
So what makes this bike worth talking about?
Okay, so there's a component of it that was interesting to me. I'll get to that in a second. But ultimately, the bike has handlebars that you can unlock to where they then steer. It's intended to be like you can have like an outdoor experience. I don't know if that's cool or not, but it can do that.
Okay. Like
a free mode for the handlebars. They're no longer locked. They can move. And then it also has the same free mode for the pedals. So instead of, you're either pedaling for power, and if you stop pedaling, your feet are still moving. You can just stop pedaling, and it'll be like a free mode on an outdoor bike. Like you're, on the screen, you're still moving,
like you're coasting,
no longer pedaling. Right, you're just coasting. So it has these kind of features built into the bike because their intent was to build like a connected fitness experience as well as an outdoor experience, right? To try to kind of compete with those two areas of cycling. And so that's one piece of it. But the piece of it that I was posting about was the fact that they are now collaborating, or I think they have been collaborating with Epic Games. And so they're using their Unreal Engine as a part of how they're building out these games on their platform. And so games like Fortnite were built in that same kind of context. So they're saying using our bike, you don't just have like studio classes, you have true games that are of a quality that you would get in current day kind of gaming. And that made me go, I know Peloton's about to come out with Lane Break, but should they have thought in the same terms of like going to like a true gaming kind of company that has like decades of experience there, using their engines to build games that are, have graphics and detail to kind of this level, right? That's what the question it posed in my mind.
Yeah. And so, I hear you saying like, what does this do for like Peloton's Lane Break? Like it kind of is not so great comparatively. Or should I say Lane Break is not so great?
I know this is like, extreme, but I compared it to like, a modern day game and Pong. So I'm like, are we building Lane Break, but then these other companies are building, are we building Pong while other companies are building Fortnite?
It's a fair question.
That was the question.
Totally. Yeah, because you would think they could do all sorts of fun things if they had something like this in terms of like, you could, be competing on screen against Matt Wilpers or something.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
That would be neat.
A little Matt Wilpers icon, actual size. Like
that's how big he is?
Yeah, I can make those jokes because I'm the same size.
So I don't know. I mean, it was just a concept. I don't know if this bike is really going to make much of a splash or not. I think it was, it dropped last month. But it was just that concept of the gaming component of it. And they're thinking that they could use the gaming component of it to kind of drive like an outdoor experience, which then get to the hardware of the bike. They can use the steering, these handlebars that move and free mode pedals to give you even more of a realistic experience.
I wouldn't think it would take too much of a bite out of Peloton. I think that's a kind of a hyper specific niche market that, where if they have something that's close enough, like they're probably fine. And, and while it's one thing to compare it to Pong, I almost wonder if it's more like Candy Crush. You know what I mean? Like you have all those games on your phone, which aren't as intense or as something like a Fortnite, but it's more for kind of the casual game user. Like I don't want to get sucked into something that complex. I don't have time for that. But while I'm sitting there watching TV, I'll play Best Fiends. I still play it, even though they don't advertise it.
I ran out of
levels on Best Fiends. That's a whole nother. Yeah.
So the other thing that I find interesting about this is one, I'm curious if you will add this to your social media list that you keep, Capti, and two, if it is its own, you have to buy a bike or you have to use their platform, like how expensive is that compared to all the other alternatives out there, so that'll be interesting to see as well.
The bike is expensive. It's $4,000 for the bike.
What?
I don't know about that.
What?
That'd be a real fun video game.
God damn.
I don't know about the monthly, but they do have a subscription plan and they have their own content, which always kills me with all of these platforms.
Right.
I'll be reading about it. I'll be like, oh, that's kind of neat. Oh, that's kind of cool right there. And then I'll go look at the content and I'll be like, that's wow. Content is horrible. I always do that. I always same thing every time. The content makes me go, well.
Peloton really excels in that area. They really do.
Yeah.
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 Well, we will keep our eye on this one and see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us, John. Until next week, where can everyone find you?
They can find me in my Facebook page or group, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on Instagram, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on the tickety-tock, Run, Lift, and Live. Or they can find me at runliftandlive.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Talk to you guys later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jen.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jen Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. She was a 5-year national team member in rhythmic gymnastics and handled the sports psychology for USA Gymnastics. It's Dr. Jen. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Hey, good. Great to be here.
Well, we really appreciate your time, and we're hoping for some help because so as we have entered into 2022, it's here at last. How should people go about setting up, structuring their goals, their fitness goals for this year?
Okay. Well, first of all, the number one biggest mistake I see is people doing too much too fast. And if you are someone who has not been active and then suddenly you're saying, I'm going to work out an hour a day, 7 days a week, you are going to fail. I don't mean to be a pessimist, but you are far more likely to get injured based on all of the studies that I've read. You are more likely to hate what you're doing. Really, the key to creating achievable goals is to start small. I'd rather you look at your goals and go, well, that's so easy. I could totally do that. And have the opportunity to have success and build on success. You know, a lot of the time people see my workouts since I post on my Insta stories, all of my Peloton workouts. And they'll say like, oh, I want to do what you're doing. But I built up to this. You know, besides the fact that I was an elite level rhythmic gymnast on the national team for 5 years, even now, decades later, it took me a long time to work up to the level that I'm at. And I started off with I started off with walking before I was running. I started off with walk runs that you have to work up to what your goals are. So that's really a key issue, that you want to make sure that you start small, that you build that. And I think one of the great things about Peloton is that you can start to layer. You can start with, like, for example, your cardio, 20-minute or even 10-minute workouts. And then once you're achieving that, raise the level, raise the time, start to add in strength work, start to add in stretching, yoga, all that sort of stuff, and create a balance. But I always recommend that people work with someone who is knowledgeable about training. For example, someone like you, Crystal, that you have a background in knowing how to create a healthy program, that you have studied this. And if you're not working with Crystal, then working with a personal trainer, working with an exercise physiologist, working with a friend who is studying this, or someone who's really knowledgeable. And you don't have to do it. It's not like, if you're working out on Peloton, you don't need a trainer every day. But what you do need is someone to help you to create a reasonable program and then build on it. So maybe you check in once every 4 to 6 months after creating a program. But a lot of the time, we are not the best judges of what we should be doing when it comes to our workout. Sometimes we are too ambitious. And one of the studies that I read that is particularly fascinating to me is that it looked at lifelong exercisers. And what it found was that people who were lifelong exercisers exercised because they found that they felt great after they exercised. They got endorphins while they were exercising. It felt good. They had positive associations. But when you first start an exercise program, you get none of that. On the contrary.
I'm still waiting.
You can speak to this for sure. It's difficult. It's painful. It's discouraging. You don't get endorphins until you get to a higher level. So a lot of the time, it isn't the best. So what you want to do as you're building up is, first of all, focus on music. Pick classes based on music that you love, instructors that you love, other things that will excite you and keep you engaged. Try to break things up into smaller bits. If you find that, doing a 30-minute walk even is too much for you, but you want to hit 30 minutes, do a 10-minute walk, then do a 5-minute core, then go back and do a 20-minute walk. You can break things up as you build up. Don't judge yourself and judge, if I'm not doing it 30 minutes straight, if I'm not running for 60 minutes straight, sometimes we have to break things up for our mental state, because when we build up an exercise program, what most people don't realize, they just think about the physical.
Right.
That it takes a while to build up the physical strength and the endurance. But what most people don't realize is it takes a while to build up the emotional, psychological endurance. Like, I know for me, I've built up to a 60-minute run. I do 45 minutes on my long run, and once a month I do 60 minutes right now. Mentally, that is really hard for me. 45 minutes now, not a problem. But that 60-minute is still, I find myself really having to play mind games with myself as I'm running. The endurance I can do now, but it's the mental game where it's more challenging for me. So really be patient with your mental game, and also ask yourself as you're training, where am I struggling? Is it strength? Is it endurance? Is it mental? Or is it fatigue? And then make sure that you adjust accordingly, and also make sure that you include stretches or yoga or whatever you need to help you recover so that you can keep increasing your workout.
Yes. Oh, such good advice.
Yes.
Such good advice.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Until next week, where can people find you?
You can find me. I have a weekly column at InStyle magazine called Hump Day with Dr. Jen. That's all about sex and relationship advice. You can also find me on all of the social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. I'm on it at Dr. Jen Man, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man. And I do post all of my Peloton workouts on my Insta story.
Awesome. Thank you.
Peloton in the news.
So Bloomberg.com has an interesting article about Strava and how the pandemic has affected them, especially in relation to some of the things Peloton has been seeing.
Yeah. So I thought this was interesting for a few reasons. So they're basically, the gist of this article is that their revenue spiked by 68% in 2021. However, they're not sure if they're going to be able to keep it. Bloomberg isn't sure if they're going to be able to keep it, but thus far they have not had the fall off that Peloton has, that they're showing. So they're saying like it's going to be fine. That's what Strava's thought process is. We'll see, because January 17th is kind of the cutoff for New Year's resolutions.
Like that's where the newbies kind of bail.
Yeah, it is.
And so they seem to be theorizing that people got Strava during the pandemic for their Peloton. They've pivoted away from Peloton, but they've still kept their Strava. Yeah.
And the interesting thing to me is that in the last, like when I first got my Peloton, I was all about Strava because that was one place that I could kind of log everything. But since I got my Apple Watch and then I also work out on my tonal, I don't really use Strava anymore. Like I still have it, but I don't have like I don't have the expensive plan anymore. I'm not trying to track it in the same way. So to me, it's like I still have it, but I don't do anything with it anymore because it doesn't aggregate the data in the way that I need it to, since it doesn't pull in tonal in the way that I want it to. Like it shows that I did a workout, but it doesn't give me all of my stats the way I want it to. I just find it interesting. It could just be me not knowing how to hook everything up, because some things you have to turn off and some things you have to turn on when all the different apps are talking to each other.
Right.
But I feel like I'm probably not the only person that's like, yeah, I just got it on my Apple Watch. I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're a person who's like a triathlete or something where you want to track your actual outdoor distances.
Sure.
I feel like that's really what Strava, that's where they excel. I don't feel like they really excel with all of the indoor connected fitness. And so I don't think that they're going to continue to see new income coming in. They might see additional subscribers, but I don't think that people are going to subscribe to the most expensive plans with Strava. That's just my take on it, my experience.
Gotcha. And then Tech Radar talks about LG TVs, and I guess the Peloton app is baked into LG TVs, but they're also rolling out a plan. This isn't necessarily Peloton related, but it was still interesting, where you can pay a flat fee to talk to doctors and dentists virtually right through your TV.
Yeah, and they don't right now offer Peloton. This is new. Peloton being in there is new too. And so that was why I included this. But I did think it was interesting because they kind of had a conversation about, in the article, they discuss whether or not this will matter, because LG TV can have more security around having private conversations with your doctor than some of the other options out there. And will it matter?
Right.
So I don't know if it will or not, but
Based
I
on
thought
the
it was
things
interesting.
people post on Facebook, I don't think they care.
They may not. They may not.
They don't care about their privacy. It's like, I'll give away all my information as long as you tell me which Muppet I am. Like, that's...
Oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Like, stop posting that.
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, duh, I'm Fozzie.
I mean, for sure you're
Right?
Fozzie.
Like, it's
There
not
is
even-
no doubt.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting where it's like, okay, a virtual visit with a doctor, right? Mm-hmm. I get that. You know, oh, doctor, my elbow hurts, or can you look at this rash or whatever? But your dentist?
Yeah, like I mean, I guess if it's issues like you have questions, but obviously they can't like get in there and look at your teeth, you know?
Right.
But they really can't do that with a doctor either. So it's not like you can be like hold up your foot and be like, you know, my foot's been acting weird.
Well, you
Take
can
a
hold
look.
your foot up a lot easier than you can say, look at my molars.
Yeah, but there's not so much diagnosis they can do. I mean, they can look, but
Yeah.
you know, I saw a dermatologist virtually, and they basically they were very helpful, but at the end of the day it was like, well, if you want to do something about that, you're going to have to come into the office, you know? So
Yeah.
like you can kind of get a general direction. Yeah, that's something you should talk about. That's something you don't care about.
Sure.
It's not a big,
and that's like, yeah, like for a doctor, but for a dentist, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you're going to have a pretty special camera.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have the kind of cameras I got over there on Pornhub.
Oh my. Whoa, that took a turn.
So you can also go to the gynecologist now, I
Oh
suppose.
boy.
Or the proctologist.
Okay.
What? I'm being equal opportunity.
Okay.
We've all got one of those.
Oh my.
Clip out.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube, it's Angelo from MetPro here to answer all of your nutrition questions for you to help you achieve your fitness goals. I said all the right words, just not in the proper order.
Hey guys, they know what you're saying.
Hi.
Food, nutrition,
Angelo.
No.
goals.
Well, I'll go ahead and take over, Tom.
Yeah, because this one's got sciencey words in it, man. You don't want me doing that.
Well, one of our listeners, Heather Steele, wants to know, what does MetPro think about low glycemic index eating plans?
That is a great question, Heather. I can give you an answer that isn't it depends.
Ooh, I love that. That's always fun.
So
And rare.
I actually remember penning the chapter on low glycemic. So in both MetPro books and our workbook that we have, we go over all of the different primary sciences that MetPro implements, MetPro being metabolic profiling. So what we do is we use all of the relevant sciences to a greater or lesser degree. Now, we evaluate different approaches based on their efficacy because we've had thousands and thousands of clients we've coached go through the process. And I will tell you, there are some good sciences out there that we don't use as much because application and practicality. So for example, doing zigzag techniques where you're eating a different carbohydrate intake level on different days of the week. That is a protocol that we actually do implement at MetPro. It's called micro zigzagging, but what you'll find is more often we macro zigzag simply because we get better results out of it. Why? Because micro zigzags are very difficult to adhere to in the long run. Most people have a hard enough time prepping exact macronutrients for one meal plan, let alone having 2 or 3 meal plans in a given week. So we'll pull that out and use it. Calorie control is a potent methodology of manipulating your metabolism. Carbohydrates, a potent method. One of the line items on all of these methodologies that we use is low glycemic eating. Here is what we have found. By itself, it is not a particularly potent weight loss tool by itself. But what we have found is when combined with additional modalities, it enhances the benefits and the effectiveness. So for example, if you are using caloric restriction as a trigger, if you are using carbohydrate restriction as a trigger, or so forth, and pair that with also making sure that the meals are moderate to low glycemic, there is often an enhanced correlation, and there's definitely an improvement in sustainability, because with lower glycemic meals, you tend to be satiated longer. You tend not to have a bunch of spikes in your energy level throughout the day, your blood sugar throughout the day. So it's more sustainable to come back and implement for a longer period of time. So at MetPro, with each of our meals, a lot of people, they look at the meal builder and they think that, oh, this is a tool to pick any food I want. No, that's not what's going on here. With MetPro, we actually give our clients a meal plan. This is a tool for them to exchange a particular protein or a particular carb or a particular fat for something they prefer. But there's definite guidelines. So a lot of people say, how come, this cracker wasn't on the list? Because we didn't want it there. That's why. And usually people will ask about a food that seems like it would make a lot of sense, and what they don't realize is its glycemic load. So when somebody is on an intake level that they're not on a really high threshold intake level, we'll manipulate the list of carbohydrates in particular that they have to choose from. Not radically. The staples are going to be there, but I'll give you a classic example. How come some clients say, I have bananas on my list?
Bananas come and go, man. They come and go.
Come and go. Quit monkeying around. So the reason is because it's a great carbohydrate, but it's a very high glycemic carbohydrate for a fruit. So depending on what phase we have you on, it may come and go from your meal plan or from a specific meal. So that's a testament to how we nod to glycemic loads. That's also why a lot of people ask, well, how come I have to have protein with every meal? Or often I have fats instead of, can I have it all at once? Well, it's because when you combine protein and fat with a carbohydrate, even if the carbohydrate is higher glycemic, it slows down the digestion rate of the entire meal, therefore making it overall lower glycemic, assuming the meal isn't the size of, Wisconsin. So, so it's a great question. The glycemic load, the glycemic index does impact your outcome. But if you were to change nothing about your diet and just alter the glycemic load of food, you may find you have a little more energy, a little bit more satiety out of your meal plan, but by itself, it's probably not going to trigger a significant amount of weight loss. It needs to be paired with an additional modality.
Okay.
Awesome.
Wow.
So
there's all the geeky stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's good stuff, though.
Yeah. So if people would like that sort of stuff tailored for them and their fitness goals, where can they find you?
Then you can go to metpro.co/TCO. We'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Instructors in the news.
So Alex Toussaint was visiting a school recently.
This is such a cool story.
Yeah.
So he went to the school and he helped all of these young kids, kind of he was inspiring them, telling them his story, and he gave them a $500 shopping spree to Puma.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? And it's at their flagship store. And he did this before the holidays. So I thought that was really cool.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. Neat.
Awesome. That's very kind of him.
I love it. And I guess the program is called Men of Elmont.
Ah.
Very cool, Alex.
The Today Show spotlighted 9 Peloton instructors sharing their motivational quotes that inspire them.
Yeah, I love this. There were so many good ones. My favorite is always You Don't Have to, You Get to by Jess Sims.
Yeah.
That is on my wall over there. And it is a privilege to be able to exercise because not everybody can. And it's important to remember that, because one of the things that has always motivated me through my Peloton journey has been the people who get up and exercise despite the fact that they have some kind of roadblock that
Right.
doesn't make it easy. And And I find that so inspiring. It really takes my excuses away. And I really appreciate that. So that's my favorite.
Yeah. I'm laughing because I think I've told this story before. It was a long time ago. So when I was a camp counselor, I used to say that exact same thing to kids, but I would say it to mock them.
Yes, you have told that story
They
before.
were like, oh, do we got to go on this 5-mile hike? Oh, you don't have to. You get to. It's going to suck.
Well, she did used to be a teacher, so for elementary school kids. And then of course, there's all kinds of, there's 9 of them. So Tunde, your mind is your strongest muscle. She's got great muscles. Less excuses, more adjustments from Alex Toussaint. If you can't get out of it, get into it by Dennis Morton. I love that one too.
Sounds like a letter to Penthouse.
Never give up because great things take time. Adrian Williams. Also take a mental lap. That's just my own personal favorite. Matt Wilpers, train smart, train hard, have fun. Drink as you pour. Chelsea Jackson Roberts. I love that.
It sounds messy.
I'm a disciple of a better me, Sam Yo. They can knock you down, but never let them knock you out by Kendall Toole.
Awesome. I think that's 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool. Great way to start off the new year. All inspired.
Yes, I'm very inspired now.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Rad Lopez was on Good Day New York.
Yeah, this is cool. He was talking about Peloton, and he taught them. He taught the hosts of the show how to do some punches. So he did a little boxing with them on the show. I thought that was really fun. And it's crazy because I didn't see this anywhere else. Like I only saw it on a few instructors' like stories, and that was it. I guess because it was a local story, probably.
But still, it's New York.
It's New York, yeah. I thought I would have seen it. I thought Peloton would have like shown it somewhere, but I didn't see them show it anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to Rad. That's awesome.
Absolutely. It's nice to see, as we segue into this next story, some of the newer instructors getting some attention. Michelle Kay from Shape Magazine, maybe you've heard of her. We had her on the show. Yeah. Writes about Camilla Ramon.
Yeah, and this article is so cool because it's all about body positivity for the Latin community, and I love that because Camilla talks about how she had a lot of issues with this growing up, and she feels like it was specific to her heritage, and so being able to talk about this was a really big deal to her. So it's awesome, and Michelle Kay is still killing it. So congrats to both of them.
Bex Gentry was on the Hurdle podcast.
Yeah. And so this was kind of talking about, the different kind of like going back over 2021. And so she talked about 2021 and her going through her marathon journey. I honestly could not tell if this was a replay of an earlier episode or if this was like new information. Bex posted it, so I got the impression it was new content. But for any of you out there who have listened to Bex on Hurdle, this may or may not be a new episode.
So I'm not sure how to process this next article.
I know. I feel a little conflicted.
Yes. So it's from InStyle magazine, but it's also by Michelle Kay.
It's like she'll just write for anybody.
Well, if they pay her.
I know.
We'll podcast for anybody if they won't pay us. Yeah. So
no,
that's not true. We would not do Echelon.
No, we would not. No, I'm teasing, but I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I was funny because when we were talking about the other Michelle Kay, I was like, she wrote another one of these. I don't see any more shape articles. And then it was like,
because it's in InStyle.
Look at that. So
yeah, and it's kind of a similar take on things from the other article we were talking about, not Michelle Kay's other article, but the other article that had
from the Today Show, I think. Yeah,
from the Today.
How to actually stick to your health and fitness resolutions from 8 different Peloton trainers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So talking about how they stick to their resolutions, and so they've got a lot of really good tips in here. And some of the folks that you get to hear from are Marcel Dinkins and Hannah Corbin, Emma Lovewell, Rebecca Kennedy, Anna Greenberg, Ross Rayburn, Kirsten Ferguson, Andy Spear. So lots of different kinds of advice because they fall over several different disciplines. So I definitely think you should check out this amazing article by Michelle Kay.
And speaking of Andy Spear, him and Rebecca Kennedy created their own little fancy pants Spotify playlist.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about this is, do you remember a while back we talked about how Peloton now has a spot on Spotify's Workout Hub? Mm-hmm. Well, this is one of the collaborations, and I saw that another couple of instructors did this as well. So Spotify is featuring pairings of different instructors. So the first one I found was Rebecca and Andy, but there are other instructors that are teaming up, and you can find all of them out on the Spotify Workout Hub, where you find the other Peloton playlists. So it's pretty cool. And then Andy and Rebecca both on Instagram were playing whose song was it? So that's a fun guess of who added which song. So that's kind of fun. Although I think by looking at these, I think I could pick them out.
And then finally, Daniel McKenna got a puppy.
It's adorable. And his name is Dougal. What a great Irish name.
Yes. The quickest way to win the internet is to post a picture of a puppy.
He posted so many pictures of his puppy. I am in love with this puppy. I mean, I'm in love with most puppies, so it's not really shocking. But oh my God, this puppy is so cute.
Clip out.
So the other day, I'm on the tonal, right? And you decide to work out to the new Taylor Swift class. Mm-hmm. And I'm listening to a podcast I'm trying to finish up, and I can't hear a word of it. And I was like, why is this so loud? At first I thought it was just because it was Taylor Swift, but then it turns out it was because you were using your new Sonos Roam.
It's really effective. I mean, who knew it could fill up the space like that?
It really did.
The Roam, if you guys haven't seen it, it's only about 6 inches long. It's like a cylinder. And so it's really small, but the sound that comes out of it is amazing. And you can literally take it anywhere. Now, because...
That's why they call it the Roam.
That is why they call it the Roam. Keep in mind that we like to use it in the house. Like, I like to use it with my exercise equipment, so it follows me down to the basement. But it's cool because I can just hook it up to whatever exercise equipment I am using at that moment, whether it's the Peloton or the bike or the tread or the tonal. It's very cool.
And you can use it with their app, your Apple AirPlay. You can use it with your voice, Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant. So you don't have to get a whole new system or get used to a new system if you don't want to.
No, and it's so easy to set up, and they have their own radio stations. You don't have to like go and sign up for a whole nother thing. They have ready-made radio stations that you can listen to. So it is great if you want to take it out of the house with you. It is perfect, connects to your Wi-Fi network and the rest of your Sonos system if you have one. Automatically pairs to your phone with Bluetooth when you're on the go. Seamless experience. So if you would like to learn more about it, go to Sonos.com to learn more.
Checking out the competition.
The Evening Standard, which you were in, by the way.
I was.
In case you can't recall. You've been in so many places. Had an interesting article about... like an overview of kind of things
trends
that they're saying might be Peloton killers.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. But really, it's trends for 2022. And some of these are absolutely fascinating. I'm really curious to see if any of these are still around in 2023.
Yeah.
So apparently climbing walls are going to be a really big deal, at least in the UK.
Right.
Micro gyms were included in this list. Micro gyms, if you don't know, are when you go to a little tiny gym and it's just you and maybe a trainer and you check in for an hour. Like, so think of it like Uber, but for a gym. Okay, so another interesting thing is used fitness wear, but I feel like Peloton's already got that on lockdown. But if not, there is a company called Good Fit. So they have activewear site. You can go and get 60% off of the secondhand but like new activewear, including Lululemon, Girlfriend Collective, Nike, and Sweaty Betty. Some of them, actually it says many of them even still have their tags on. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah, totally.
And then there's also a team that has, it's all of their clothes are made out of bamboo fibers. And in theory, you can wear them for up to a week without washing them because they're so effective at absorbing moisture and there's no odor. I'm just saying that's what they say.
I am saying I'm skeptical.
And then there's this assault fitness thing, which this is the thing that they're saying is going to be a Peloton killer, which it's an interactive assault bike workout, and you can track your stats. And I'm not sure why that would kill Peloton, because Peloton already does.
I reread that paragraph like 3 times trying to figure out what's so magical about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
but what I did think was cool was this skiing VR game.
Yeah.
Like you put this controller in your shoe and you pretend to ski, and it tells you how well you do on like some of the world's like hardest courses. I was pretty fascinated by that.
Yeah. It's like Mario Kart, but for skiing.
Yeah, it looks fun. And then there's like a core workout. Now this core thing is interesting because it's weighted hula hooping, and supposedly it's going to catch on big time.
And hula hooping was very big in the 50s.
It was.
You know, for the kids.
Right. And then smart recovery. You can have an ice bath at home. All you got to do is spend $2,000 on your own high-tech ice bath at home. How cool is that?
Couldn't you just dump some ice in your bath?
Yeah, but this allows you to check your temperature and make it very specific, and like based on your needs, get personalized ice bath.
Okay. So, also, I could dump some ice in my bath
I'm just
and
telling you.
have $1,995 more dollars.
If that's what you want to do.
And that's assuming I bought ice at the store and didn't just use homemade ice.
I'm just saying.
You can make ice at your house, you know that, right?
Well, I'm just telling you what's out there. So it'll be interesting to see next year which of these is still around. But I thought it was an interesting little collection.
My guess is not ice bath because it also sounds horrible.
I know you're not a fan. I get it.
Like the only time you should ever be in an ice bath is if like someone is trying to sell your kidney on the black market.
A lot of people do ice baths and hyperbaric chambers and stuff to get recovered faster. Like it's a thing.
Pro tip: absolutely not.
Okay, we get it.
Peloton artist collaborations.
I love the classic rock. I got to tell you, this sounds like the worst artist collaboration of all time.
It's not. So the interesting thing is that it's not a traditional artist collaboration. So like what they did is they did a scenic ride.
Okay.
On the Santa Monica, like it's a Santa Monica scenic ride.
I officially retract my statement because I was like, the Doors, first off, the Doors are the worst. Like, well, I love classic rock, but
there's a few songs I like.
The Doors is low grade, high school level poetry set to mediocre keyboards.
It was angsty grunge before angsty grunge.
Like
was
they just
thing.
never did anything. I know they're legendary. I even met 2 of them, but
there's only one that ever mattered. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Like that's kind of, and I met the other 2 because the first one died before I was born. It's not my fault.
Right.
But yeah. So I was just like, a class to the Doors sounds awful. Like maybe meditation.
So the interesting thing is that this is the 50th anniversary of LA Woman, the entire album. And so you can listen to the album while you do the scenic ride in Santa Monica. So I do think it's an interesting take on an artist collaboration. It's something they haven't done, and that's why I wanted to highlight it.
And it's well, we should talk about it whether I like it or not.
Well, absolutely.
If we
You're
only
right.
waited for things I liked, we'd never talk about anything on this show. But I also think it's a great way to get people to sample scenic.
Absolutely, it is
stuff.
Absolutely,
but no, I do think that's a fitting way to work in the Doors because their music is so kind of low key. Like it just doesn't seem like it would.
That's true.
It would jibe very well with what Peloton does. So,
agreed.
Because you know who plays bass in the Doors?
No,
nobody. There is no bass in the Doors. Don't let that scare you.
Okay.
Let that free you.
Okay.
In case you missed it.
Peloton is challenging you to sample a new instructor.
Yeah.
Get out of your rut.
Get out of your rut, indeed. What they did is they posted a graphic that has a picture of all of the instructors. There's a whole crap ton of them now. So a lot of people are not taking this as, I will take a new instructor today. They are saying they're taking it one step further. It's funny because we're such type A's in the Peloton world.
Right.
They weren't like, I will take a new instructor today. No. They were like, I see this as a challenge to take all the instructors by the end of the year. And that is what they did. So now this is a new challenge to take all of the instructors by the end of the year. So everyone sees your challenge, Peloton, and raises you because it is the Peloton community. And that's what we do.
I feel like this image is like what Zoom calls look like during the pandemic for Peloton. Either that or it's like if the Duggars and the Brady Bunch merged.
Except most of these people were not on a call at the same time because that's too many instructors and their time is too valuable.
There's that. Not even Peloton can afford them all at once.
No.
And if that's not enough of a challenge for you, Robin Arzon has a strength stack just waiting.
Yeah. So every month, one of the instructors, they curate the new strength stack for a month, and this year it is Robin. So I will be curious to hear how this goes for people because we all know Robin can be a little tough.
And also Callie has a boot camp challenge for you.
Yeah, so the challenge is to take 4 boot camps that she prescribes this month. So there's a 30-minute bike boot camp. Actually, they're all bike boot camps, and 2 of them are already determined, one from January 4th, one from January 11th, and then she's got other dates to be determined, but that's the goal, take all of them. And then I didn't include a picture of it, but Ben Alldis has another challenge this month too, and so he has been mixing strength and bike classes. So there, if you are looking for a different kind of challenge, that is another one to hit up as well.
And then finally in this segment, there was a new apparel drop and you were underwhelmed.
I mean, it was just a few pieces, and the colors were okay, but I don't know. It didn't appeal to me. Honestly, I'm just in a real Beyond Yoga kind of place right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really sure if it has anything to do with Peloton or it's just me, but right now I'm in a Beyond Yoga place.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Duly noted.
Yeah.
Past guest update.
So past guest Zach Honig, he's the miles guy, right?
The points guy.
Points guys, right?
Yeah, and I think he's no longer at the points guy.
Yeah, but that's what we had him on here
that
for.
Is
People
what we
remember
had him on. Yes.
It would probably be because of that.
It would.
He got engaged.
He did.
And judging by the picture, he still has points.
Yes, he's still doing lots of travel, and congratulations to Zach. I think that's so cool.
Absolutely.
Peloton birthdays.
And we have 2 birthdays this week. Adrian Williams, born on January 9th, and Hannah Frankson, born on January 11th.
Well, happy birthday to them both. How exciting.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
So joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Keith Dyke. Hey, Keith, how's it going?
I'm very well, thank you. It's going very, very well.
Wonderful. So I feel like this has been a long time coming. When did you find Peloton originally? Because I know you've been a member of the community a very long time.
Yeah, I think honestly, I found Peloton probably from day one on Kickstarter, but then, wrestled with the should I, shouldn't I, will I, won't I,
Sure.
Is it just going to be a clothes hanger for probably a year? And then I did look back. My first ride was on the 10th of September, 2016. So
Wow.
Okay, that's
the official date.
That's very early in.
Yeah, it is.
And I guess I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I actually did my 900th ride last week. So
Woo!
Nice.
I know people are like, I've done 3,000 in a year. I've done, and I'm like, no, I did 200 in a year. That's a lot.
Yeah, because you also ride outdoors and you also take longer rides. Like you're not one to do the shorter rides. I mean, maybe you are now, but you haven't always. So
yeah, no, I actually like to do the 90-minute rides. I like to stack 2 60-minute rides together. I have a treadmill, Tread Plus. So it's easy to, to jump on that instead. I have an indoor swimming pool, so I do that as well. But no, I really love to get outside and do like a 4-hour ride, 5-hour ride with some chums.
Well, then I think 900 is amazing. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's awesome.
It's not your only exercise metric.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now,
And you know how Americans hate the metric system. So
And yet you still, I was going to say, and yet you still do miles, but I guess that is 8 in the metric. That's fine.
The quickest way to get Americans on the metric system was making weed legal. That's all that was really about.
Now, have you always been into fitness and sports, or was this something more recent for you?
I think I've always been into some form of sports, albeit more socially. I mean, I've obviously coming from the UK, I've ridden London to Land's End, which is about 400 miles, 3 times.
Whoa.
I always used to play soccer. I would call it football, but people would get confused again. I took up triathlons probably about 15 years ago, more because I said I would run a marathon before I was 40, and I got to 39, and that was never going to happen. And so somebody introduced me to triathlons and said, "Oh, this will be easier." I didn't understand the logic either, but believe me, a sprint triathlon is a lot easier than a marathon. But unfortunately, a sprint triathlon leads to an Olympic triathlon, which leads to a half Ironman. And then I stopped because an Ironman involves a marathon, which I'm never going to do.
You're like, you tried to trick me. Nice try.
Came about it from the other angle.
Yeah.
I said.
And Americans know what football is now because of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
The interesting thing there is Ted Lasso's, he plays, I know it's Richmond FC, right? But the ground, etc., is Crystal Palace's ground, which is my team.
Oh,
really? Nice. That's cool.
Because that's a fictional team, right? They've made up a team.
Yeah, I'm sure there is a Richmond FC somewhere, because there's every pub or green has a team. But there is no Richmond FC in the league.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now you told us you have the Tread Plus. So do you have the Bike Plus too? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I upgraded, whatever it was, a year, 18 months ago. Sold one of my friends the bike, expecting the next day to be delivered the Bike Plus, only to then get the email that said, "Ooh, we had a bit of a delay."
Whoops.
Yikes.
So luckily I have 7 bikes that I can take outside on the road. I have a Tread Plus, I have a swimming pool. So it didn't interact too much, except to just be a bit annoying.
See, that's what you point to if somebody tries to give you trouble about quote unquote only 900 rides, right? You can be like, well, I'd be at like 4,000 if they hadn't delayed the delivery of my Bike Plus.
Right. I'm sure that was it.
Laid all the blame at the door of Peloton.
Now,
exactly.
7 outdoor bikes, 7. Do you have a separate garage for your bikes? Like, how is that? How is this even happening?
Well, we have a 3-car garage, and the kids have to put their cars outside. So mine, the wife's, my bikes.
I like that priority, though.
I do too.
Kids.
I do. Yeah, they are kids.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Buy your own house. So you have a 3-car and a 7-bike garage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are they all like hanging? Are they on racks? Describe what you.
They're on. I mean, one of them is a tandem, so it's slightly higher up, and another one is an elliptigo. So there is a bit of a stretching of the needle there as far as bikes is concerned. But they have 2 wheels and they have pedals, so that's the way it goes.
I think it counts.
They're all hang. They all hang from the wall.
Yeah, and it definitely counts
on swivel racks. So that it's almost like selecting clothes in the morning. Which bike shall I wear?
How often does the tandem get chosen?
Just Valentine's Day.
It doesn't very much. I have some friends that come over from the UK, and we blast around the neighbourhood in it. And I've tried to get my wife to ride on it, but she won't do it. I bought her shoes for the Peloton 5 years ago. They're not still in the wrapper because luckily my daughter is the same shoe size. But no, my wife is the Tom of the family.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah. So is a tandem bike hard to ride? I feel like you're really putting your faith that the other person isn't going to tip you over.
I know. That's what I'm worried about. Like, I think I would wipe out. How are you doing that without wiping out?
I think it's generally it's easier to pedal faster, but you don't. And as long as you've got somebody who can ride on the back, then it's not a problem. And the guy on the back is supposed to be the stoker. So it's supposed to be the guy that really pushes and doesn't care about the guy on the front, just goes, "I'm going to give you everything." And then the guy on the front changes gears and steers. I generally find that I'm the guy on the front steering.
Are we still talking about
gears.
bikes? I'm not so sure.
I feel like this happened the last time we talked to somebody on a tandem bike.
I was like, did we have Dan Savage on again? What is happening now?
I mean, I've come off a normal bike a couple of times. It's pretty. It would be pretty daunting to come off a tandem.
It's not a normal bike; it's a cisgendered bike. That's what you're supposed to say.
Oh, great. So, but now you are also the admin of the Peloton Road Riders group. There's probably more than one admin in the Road Riders group. Okay. So tell everybody what that group is, because there's a lot of people that have actually never heard of that amazing group.
So, I mean, we started in November of 2016. So we just had our 5-year anniversary. And I think to be honest, it's just an incredibly supportive group for riding outside. Most people had a Peloton. Some people have not kept their Peloton, but have actually kept riding outside. And we hook up with all sorts of other people, all sorts of road riders. 6,000 of us, I think, at the moment. And generally, we're cuckoos. We join other people's races and rides. There's a bunch of rides called the Farm to Fork Fondo, which is generally over on the northeastern coast, and we do those rides quite often. The Hincapie Grand Fondos, which George Hincapie runs, we've joined those for the last couple of years. In fact, a couple of our riders are ambassadors for George, so we get good perks on there. And no, honestly, it's just such a great camaraderie because we're all focused not just on Peloton but road riding as well. The fact that we joined all together, and I'm sure you guys know as well, having been on some of the other Facebooks and your own Facebooks as well, that that community is immense and it's huge, right? From a social interaction point of view, I know that grandparents and parents, and even I will talk about, when I was growing up, community was everything. We haven't lost that. We just went virtual. Yeah. And you need to join it.
Yeah. I love the Road Riders group because, as you said, you guys are all very supportive. And also, if anybody out there ever wants to buy a road bike, like, you guys are great about spending other people's money. That's kind of a bit of an inside joke. I need to spend my money, and then you come over to the Road Riders group and say, what should I buy? But in all seriousness, always great advice over there. Great advice about getting a road bike. And for people who, might be in the Peloton community, never considered that they might want a road bike, I just think they should know about this group and that you guys are able to help with that. And you've had so many great get-togethers over the years because some of the instructors have joined you guys at times, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, originally we started with Matt. Matt used to come out with a few rides with us. In fact, our first road rider invasion at the studio, at the mothership as we used to call it. We rode around Central Park like 5 or 6 times with Matt, and then ended up at the studio for his 90-minute ride, which I guess shows a couple of things. Right, when we first started, there weren't many of us either to be able to fit in the studio, but that was fantastic, and we followed on from that. But yeah, and then Christine over the last few years has joined us on quite a few rides, and even when she can't join, she rides to the end and supports the finish and cheers us in. So, but yeah, we've got quite support there. I have dropped a couple of notes to John Foley that he should sponsor a ride that we can put together, but he's never answered me. I don't know why. But maybe this is the time.
Well, you would think that Peloton's PR team would be all over that. So Peloton PR, if you're listening, this is your chance. Celebrate the Road Riders group, support them, get out there and make it an awesome Peloton event. That would be so cool, especially because, indoor events are going to be hard for however long that's going to be a thing. And it would be cool to have a Peloton outdoor event that, everybody could join from everywhere. That'd be cool.
No, I think it is. And I think that even just as road riders, we have our own kit, as you know.
Yes.
This is our celebratory jacket for year 5. And just getting to the events, we always wear orange. It's always some form of orange, and just seeing the wash of orange that is being worn is actually quite incredible to get to the start. And even when you're cycling up to somebody else and going, oh, these are road riders, I can be able to say hello.
You instantly know. You instantly know, and it's like those are my people, because you can see them so easily, the designs and everything, and so because it is orange, so it's amazing.
And it's great for when you do those road rides where you also deer hunt from the bike, like just extra safe.
Yes. just the rifle over the shoulder is a bit of a problem, but just don't fall off.
Right.
After the first couple, you get the hang of it.
Oh, do you, Tom? Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Tell us all about that, Tom.
Anything I love more than riding my bike, it's hunting.
I was just thinking that you couldn't give people that kind of advice if you've never done that kind of thing. But so now you've had 5 kits, you said. What is the new one? When do they get released? I feel like it's at the beginning. Oh, look at that.
You fancy pants.
Whoa, for everyone not watching YouTube, he just flashed up like
all the kits.
A graphic of all of the kits. Look at that.
Very prepared.
He is.
He's got his own PowerPoint. You don't even need us. I can leave at any point in time. Just every once in a while say something offensive, and it'll be like
Tom covered.
It'll be like I never left.
Why has Tom got an English accent all of a sudden?
Oh, that's amazing. So cool. So let's see. I have 2 of those. I have 2. Now, when does the next design come out?
So interestingly enough, the next design comes out in 2026.
What?
So the design committee last year, and I've been on the design committee all 5 years, and every year we put out something in about October, November, and say, look, do you want to spend some more money, or should we not design a new kit? And almost uniformly every year it's been, let's spend my money. And you guys know how long it takes to put a podcast together. It takes a good month of arguing and cajoling to get an agreed. We have a design committee, so there's only 5 of us, but still a lot of arguing and cajoling.
Sure.
Yeah, totally.
So we decided there wasn't going to be a new kit until the 10-year anniversary.
Whoa.
That might be a surprise to a lot of people listening to your show.
Breaking
I
news.
may well get a lot of hate mail.
Oh, we know all about that.
Yes.
We get hate mail too. So you're 5 years. So that means that you plan on having a Peloton still being in business, and everyone still being in the group on Facebook. You're still going to be adminning. 5 years is a long time to commit to all that.
Yeah, maybe I'll be ousted. What do you mean, no kit? Do you remember the great no kit debate of 2021 where Keith was no longer seen anymore?
Well, I really hope not.
But I mean, having said that, all 5 of these kits are still available, right? So it's not that we're closing shop and saying, no, that's it. If you haven't joined the clan, you're not in. But no, we said, look, there's only so many things you can do with Orange.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I get that.
This is probably enough. Having said that, if there is a great demand, then I'm sure we can come out of retirement and produce a new one. But I'll give you whether you know them or not, but I'll give you there's two URLs. One is for the 2021 kit, and then for some reason all the rest gets shifted to vintage.
Vintage. Ooh, it sounds very fancy.
It's a different URL.
I like. Okay, yes, definitely. We will post those as well. Yeah.
Charge $10 more for the vintage, and people will be like, "Oh, it must be worth more."
Well, we at the very start we thought about maybe charging an extra $1 for every item and then just putting that towards good causes or whatever. And it became such a nightmare that all we charge is cost, and we actually get really good discounts from Jack Crew, is the designers that we use.
You do get great discounts, yeah.
And we do, yeah.
And also, like, people who've never put one of those, like, put money aside for, like, raising money for causes, like, it's so complex.
Yeah.
Like, the way that you, like, all the hurdles you have to clear and all the things you have to consider, it can be very difficult. So, yeah, I totally get that.
Your tax return, my tax return, their tax return. It's like, I tell you what, you just buy it at cost. It's fine. And then when we have a charity event, you can contribute to that.
And so obviously you said earlier you're not originally from the US. So you didn't have like a straight line from the UK to the US. There's a bit of a story there. You have a journey. So tell us.
I guess it starts way back in, to be honest, about 1989. So get yourself a big cup of Horlicks,
okay,
or hot chocolate, whichever you prefer. So I actually didn't fly for the first time until 1989, which puts me at the tender age of 21. And whilst that probably sounds quite old, obviously being in London, I got to go to lots of places in Europe, via ferries, because there was no tunnel at that time. But anyway, my first flight was a 16-hour flight to the Maldives. for a scuba diving trip, and that was quickly followed by 6 months sailing around Central America with 29 other Canadian crew members as we were on a Sail and Life Training Society ship, which pretty much was just, sail, get to know each other, get to know anybody you pull into port with, say hello, and work things through. And I think that even though subsequent to that, I've been on many, many trips. I've been to Africa, been all around Asia, I've been, I think those 2 trips themselves just introduced me to so many cultures and civilizations, for want of a better phrase, that helped me in my work ethic. And, just always trying to understand other people and other people's problems, not just going, why don't you understand me?
Right.
And so in 2000, I was actually offered a job in New York for the company I was already working for. I was offered a job in New York. And so just going back a few years from there, I used to work for Morgan Stanley. And at the time, we had a few people over from the US in the UK that were working on the project or with the project and leading the project that I was on. And my wife, or girlfriend at the time, said, just to let you know, if you are offered a job abroad and you turn it down, I will break both your legs. So I guess a couple of things. One is that she hadn't been on the 2 trips previously, so she didn't have quite that ethic of understanding other people's ideals. And 4 years later, she did become my wife, so I guess I got over the threat. But yeah, we came over in 2001. We really on a 2-year contract, stayed till 2003 when the company that I was working for, Deutsche Bank in both instances, said, we really have a good job for you in Germany. We need you to integrate some Dresdner Bank business that we just bought. So I went to Germany for 3 years, did that work, and then was like, okay, I guess we should go back to the UK and start preparing for life there. And my boss phoned me up again and said, no, you need to come back to the US and sort some other stuff out. So we came back and have been here since. So 2007 was our rejoining, if you like. I like to tell people I Brexited before it was infamous, before it was fashionable.
Yeah, I was just thinking them calling you in to sort things out, and I just thought, like, man, fixing things Americans screw up. Talk about job security. You are safe as a kitten. Do they call them kittens over there?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know. They call them, like, wombly rats.
We're talking about small cats, then yes, they call them kittens.
It sounds like something the British would say. Wombly rats.
Oh, well, that's fun. So you've been living here ever since. Wow. Is it tough to change, like, where you, like, I realize that since everybody speaks the same language, that it's not as much of a shift. Right.
Ish.
Exactly. Ish. Yeah. But, like, I would think it would be hard just from a cultural perspective to leave everything behind that you're used to, move to a whole nother country. You don't have people that you know and can rely on in the same way. And I would just think that's tough. So is that...
I think once you've done it once, it's easy to do it again and again. But yeah, it's... moving to Germany with the kid, we had the kids in our first instance in New York, so they were born in Manhattan. Then we dragged them off to Germany and then dragged them back again. Actually the first couple of times they were asked what their nationality was, they didn't know. They were like, "Oh, are we German? Are we? Sure. Are we English? You're English? Are we English?" And to be honest, yes, that's funny, but I also don't mind that. It's like, you're wherever you feel comfortable.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I used to say they have great opportunity because they have a European passport and they have a US passport. Obviously, the European one got a lot smaller just recently. So.
Yeah. Hopefully it will change again someday. So tell us about the Peloton Rider Cup. When does that happen? And tell us all the good stuff about that.
So interesting enough, the Peloton Rider Cup was just something I participated in, but I got fairly embroiled in it relatively quickly, just because I think that I just kept reaching out saying, "Do you need me to help? What do you want me to do?" And I think I was the only road rider that actually joined, not because everybody else turned it down, but because I was the only one that knew about it. But I think it was, so Vernon Diaz is a great guy who set up the event. He runs a website called barcool.io, which is used to help people run challenges together.
Okay.
So anybody that doesn't know that, check that out on Facebook as well. But so Peloton dads use it. I think there's the UK Bulldogs, the UK Lionesses. That may not even be the UK Lionesses. It may just be Lionesses. There's a few Facebook groups that already use that to run things like Power Zone rides. They put them in together so they don't have to worry about recording their stats. So if you go onto there, he's got things like doing the Paris challenge. He's got the 5 rides up the volcano in Hawaii that Christine did.
Yeah.
He put those all together so you can actually compete against other people doing them. Oh, don't have to do it at the same time. But the point of the Ryder Cup was, I think you just said, well, we've got enough people in Europe, we've got enough people in the UK. Let's just in the US. Let's just have an event. When I got to hear about it, the US men's team was not quite 50 people. So I said, look, hey, I'm a dual national now. I became a citizen in 2018. I'll ride for the US. And he said, oh, God, that's great. But at the time, they were still in heats.
Okay.
For the US women, the European women, and the European men, just to sort of get to the 50 people of each of those that were going to ride. So I was like, okay, this has got really big really quickly. And then strangely enough, one of the downsides, changes as a result of the pause button, was that we had to do a live ride.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So it was actually supposed to be the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And then Vernon, his daughter, was due to be born on or around that date. So he decided to move it up a week. So that was it became the 21st, which I think was good for the US side because there was a lack of turkey being peddled at that time.
Yeah, I was going to say Vernon should change the name of it to the Turkey Vern.
But this it's going to be an annual event, or at least that's the plan, right?
It turned out it was he chose Christine's climb ride on the Sunday before Thanksgiving as the ride, and because I'm casually acquainted with Christine, I dropped her a note and said, there's going to be 200 people on your ride that may or may not be following your prompts. So we had a little bit of an exchange, and then she designed a ride for the race. And gave everybody shout outs and encouraged people on, and it turned out to be the Dirty Dozen climb, which is, I don't know if you know, but it's a race around the 13 not necessarily highest, but worst climbs in Pittsburgh. And so so it was a bit grueling, and you didn't have to. You could literally follow her metrics.
Wow.
You didn't have to go, I'm just going to go all out for an hour and we'll see where we are. It was like, no, let's do these climbs and then we'll end up where we are.
Wow.
That's
the cut. What could be a long story short, the US won. But honestly, I think we won by 2 points.
Wow. So it was like neck and neck.
It was pretty close. But yeah, I actually spoke to Vernon this afternoon, and he said that the next event is going, because there was a few complaints about, well, I'm Canadian. How do I get on the US? How can I not get on the US team? I'm from Azerbaijan. Who do I ride for? So he's going to do a World Cup, and it's going to be country against country starting in February. So,
exciting!
That's cool.
If you want to be a part of that, just check out Barkle. That's BARKLE.io on Facebook, and obviously I will try and promote it as much as I can around some of the other teams as well. But it was a lot of fun, and actually I got my PR both on the one of the training rides and on the main ride. I got PRs on both of those. So if that's your thing, then definitely look it up.
That's awesome. Wow.
And that's cool that she designed a ride for it.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
Really, that's
She's
really
great
nice.
about doing stuff like that. She just kind of jumps in. That's awesome. You've also had a big year with your weight loss journey. Why don't you share about that? This, and I want to know what worked and what didn't.
Well, I was going to put up another graphic, but then it's just a picture of me being really fat, and I didn't like that. But,
it's okay with us if you want to share.
Yeah, I did send it to you, so you can post it if you want. But it's been there on my own homepage, so it's fine. But my weight loss journey has been, I don't know, one where I've been dedicated to losing weight for the last 7 years and never really done anything.
Okay.
hundreds of miles outside, hundreds of miles on the Peloton, God knows how many miles in the swimming pool, the treadmill, on the working out on the tread, and it never did anything. So I think there's sort of three phrases that come true. One is, and it's always been true, and everybody knows it, which is you can't out-exercise a bad diet, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody knows that, but everybody thinks they can.
Yeah.
I spent 6 years thinking I can. The second one, I wrote these down so that I didn't forget. Everything works, and then nothing works if you're looking for a quick fix.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
If you're looking at anything you do will be a quick fix if you've got your mindset to it. But then as soon as you stop, where that weight will come back from.
Yeah.
And then the last one, which has become my mantra for probably the last year, is don't worry about your diet, worry about your diet.
Okay.
Right? So
what do you mean?
Don't get onto a diet. Don't think, and I'll pick a few, and then I'm sure there'll be the wrong ones, right? But don't pick intermittent fasting thinking it will be the solution. Don't pick Weight Watchers think it will be the solution. Don't think, right? Because they will all work until you stop doing them.
Yeah.
Right? Pick something that will become your diet.
Your lifestyle.
What you eat, what your lifestyle is, and I know that's Weight Watchers mantra as well, but
make it a noun, not a verb.
That's right.
Exactly. It's just make it the way you live. I do intermittent fasting, which pretty much means I stop eating sometime between 8 and 10, and then I start eating again sometime between 12 and 4. But you know what? Sometimes I get up and I have a bagel for breakfast.
Yeah.
So what? But I know what that does. I know what that impacts. And then, occasionally I'll go out for a few beers with the boys. That doesn't help either. But it also doesn't make me a dull boy.
Right.
They might disagree.
You have to have a life still. You have to. Yeah, absolutely.
So I've lost 45 pounds.
Nice.
From last Thanksgiving to this Thanksgiving.
Congratulations.
And I still want to lose some more, and I think it's just a case of now, finding a slightly different tweak to, however many calories I'm eating a day, or something that I can support. Because, as I say, I'm sure if I go, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks, it will work.
Right.
And then I'll find myself back at 260 pounds, and I'll be depressed.
Yeah, which you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. No, The thing about that is that there's only so many levers there. Like Angelo's always saying for our MetPro segments, there's only so many levers. And if you pull all the levers and you reduce how much you're eating, there's nowhere to go from there. Like you're eating as little as you can. Your metabolism has slowed down. So you got to start increasing how much you eat just a little bit at a time and then do it all over again.
I will say that I love Peloton. I love running outside. It's no problem. The biggest difference to me has been introducing weight training. And Tom, I must get your leaderboard name on Tonal.
Oh, it's real easy. It's Tom OKeefe.
Let me write that down.
Yeah. I have to write it down on a post-it or I'll forget.
He's so creative.
Yes.
Mine, strangely enough, is True Grit, same as it is on Peloton, but but no, as I say, it's not to the detriment of Peloton. Peloton is great for cardio. It's great for actually, I think the community on Peloton is better just because of longevity, right? Because I think that the community on Tonal is fantastic too, especially the original Tonal page as opposed to the OPP. But
sure,
let's not get into that debate. But yeah,
I don't think it's a debate.
It's not.
I think it would be a debate if we posted it on the OPP.
Well, sure.
Yes, we would get eviscerated there.
Yes. They would scream at us, telling us how wonderful they are.
Yes.
Yeah. And how dare you challenge that?
Exactly. But yeah, the weight training does make a difference because it obviously you're gaining lean muscle mass, so that's going to make your frame smaller in addition to losing weight. So everything kind of goes together. So do you feel like, I don't know, Tom has always said that whenever he's lost weight, that through this process with Tonal, he has found that it's changed his shape. So the weight that he is now, he actually if he was that same weight, I don't know, 5 years ago, that he would look heavier than he does now because of Tonal.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I am constantly losing inches, for want of a better phrase, and that's enough from you, Tom. I don't want to To the extent that actually my wife, I'm trying to not go down that rabbit hole because I know Tom will say something, but we every couple of months my wife is going to measure my neck, and I've lost 33 inches in 2 years.
Wow.
Which to me is huge. I actually bought some size 36-inch waist jeans, which generally might sound a bit big, but I was wearing 42s.
That's incredible.
Totally, yeah.
Last October. So,
yeah. I mean, I know that like my sizing, I've been like, I'm like basically 180 right now, and I've been 190 before, but I never could wear size large in a t-shirt. I still had to wear an XL, and and I was moving to large when I was 190 this time. So like it definitely changes your physical makeup regardless of what the scale might say.
I think certainly broader shoulders, even just walking. I noticed that my clothes are not tight to me.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic, even whether that's pants, or
if Ted Lasso ever becomes a tailor, we'll figure that one out. Or haberdasher? Is that what you would say?
Even Kingsman didn't even change that anyway.
No,
that's true. That's true.
So, do you have a preferred instructor?
I see. To me, this is. I mean, I guess the answer is yes. But you ask that question, it's a huge debate, and if the next thing you're going to say is which of my kids do I prefer, then we're going to have to end the interview. But I would say that I generally stick to the power zone instructors for that sort of structure. So obviously that's Matt, Christine, Olivia, and Ben. But that doesn't mean that I don't find Liang Hainsby and Jess King and I actually just started doing some Alex rides as well, which I've quite enjoyed, which is not my type of music at all, but I really enjoy the rides.
Yeah.
So I think that, there's rides out there for everybody. And they've also introduced so many new instructors just recently. I'm like, I'd have to stop tumbling to get onto the...
Sounds like a deck of cards. You get a different instructor for each one. Yeah.
And then on the Tread Plus, to be honest, it's, Bex and Rebecca are the two that I go to there. And then Matt, whenever I really want to be beaten up.
Yeah, he's kind of known for that.
Yeah, he is.
So do you have any advice for people just entering the world of Peloton?
I think this is an interesting one because there's advice for people who are just entering road riding, and then there's advice for people who are just entering Peloton. So
you can do just road riding if you want. That's okay.
Oh, I mean, the newbies to Peloton is the easy one. Just have fun.
Yeah,
just have fun. Don't worry about the OPP. Don't worry about joining your tribe. I mean, find a tribe, but don't do that day one.
Right.
Find out what you like first, rather than joining a tribe and then doing what they like. Ride everybody more than once if you want, or just cross off who you don't like, and then just have fun.
I think that's great.
Absolutely.
And then for the road riders, I guess a couple of things. One is, if you don't have a bike and you're looking to buy one, then find a local bike store, and in fact find more than one. Go in there, just have a chat with the people. Don't even buy a bike the first time you go in, and don't buy the first bike you ride. You might end up buying the first bike you ride, but like going shopping with my wife, she'll buy the first pair of shoes she tries on, but not for another hour and a half.
That's like Crystal. She'll buy the first pair of leggings that she tries on, and the second, and the third, and the fourth.
I have 7 bikes. I don't know. I can't complain.
You can't.
I have like 85 long boxes of comic books.
Exactly,
so
Tom.
I can't complain.
We all have our things.
Yes.
So just get to know your and then whichever way you choose, because each bike store is obviously aligned to a manufacturer. So just because you like a one, or you go in the first store, they're not going to have the bikes of another manufacturer. That second manufacturer might be better for you with regards to the fit and the process. But get to know your local bike store, because there'll be a mine of information as much as the road riders. Join us, even if you don't ride outside yet, we'll accept you. And I can say that because it's me that will be accepting you.
That's right. That's
literally,
right. Just make sure you answer the 3 questions. These questions 3.
Answer me these questions 3.
You have to, So you'll get in, and then you can ask us as many questions as you like. As I said before, we are a really supportive group. I think since I've been the admin, or since Lainey, Chris of Power Zone Request Ride fame, and I have been the admins, I think we've kicked 3 people out for not really agreeing with us, and they were very, very abusive, very, very abusive. Everybody else has just been very friendly and very, very accommodating. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah,
and it's good that you keep it tight.
Yeah.
And then check out local rides. You can ride, if there's, as road riders, we're always posting our own rides. So this is what we're going to do on Sunday. This is what we're going to do on next Tuesday. So you can ride with us, but also you can ride with anybody. If you join a good bike store, they'll probably have local rides, and they'll have rides that are for, the groups go A, B, C, D. You just join whichever one you think you're going to be good with. They'll have, Group A rides will be, go as fast as they can, and if you can't keep up, then you're dropped off the back, and then lower down they have no drop rides. So, whoever's at the back is the pace of the group.
Yeah, that's the ride for me. I'm a little slower.
That's okay.
It's for everybody, right?
That's right.
Like, that's why they do that.
That's right.
So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, remind everybody where they can find you in all the various places.
Sure. Well, it's actually only 2. I do Facebook as Keith Dyke, strangely enough, and then I'm on Insta with KDD23, but that's sporadic. I keep trying to do more because my kids keep hassling me about it, but there's only so many things you can have as gadgets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you have 7 bikes, and all the gadgets are out there.
That's your limit. New rule: 1 bike for each social media platform that you utilize.
Oh, he'll be on the tickety talk.
Yes. I'll be going back to MySpace, Friendster. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. We really appreciate it.
We do.
No problem. Good, great talking to you.
Clip out.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. What, pray tell, do you have in store for people next week?
We are going to talk to Peloton great Sean Woodbridge, and she tells us amazing Peloton stories and includes her giving her kidney, donating her kidney. So it is quite a wild ride. Ha, pun intended.
Yes.
But it's a really great story. So make sure to stick around and listen next week.
Awesome. So until then, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/CrystalDOKeefe. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, the bike, and the tread at ClipOutCrystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/TheClipOut. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and wherever you're getting your podcast from, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
and running.